The Flyer's License by Scouse Pone. Rainbow Dash soared through the air, performing dozens of dangerous acrobatics for her own enjoyment. Just a regular day in her book. So far, everything was going perfectly, and it was shaping up to be a great day. Dash just hoped her day would turn out the way she wanted it to. Normally, that wouldn't be a problem, but today, Dash was going to show Fluttershy some flying tips, and Dash knew all too well how Fluttershy dealt with pressure. The pony could barely muster up the strength to do a proper cheer, so Rainbow doubted that she'd be able to do something as simple as a tight turn or a nosedive. Nonetheless, Rainbow would always be happy to help out a friend, and more than eager to show off her skills. She just hoped Fluttershy would show the same eagerness to learn. Down below, Rainbow Dash spotted Fluttershy's cottage and made her way towards it. Fluttershy's animals ran for cover when Dash first landed, but they showed their faces again once they recognised the face. "Hiya, guys," Rainbow Dash said as she trotted towards her friend's door, giving it a couple of knocks with her hoof when she reached it. Shortly after, Fluttershy slowly opened the door, but upon seeing Rainbow Dash, swung it open wide. "Hi, Dash. I should have known you'd be here ahead of schedule." Fluttershy greeted with a smile. "Hey, Fluttershy, are you ready for some flying tips?" Dash asked, flapping her wings a few times as she talked. "Oh yes, definitely. Just let me get one thing." Fluttershy went back into her home, only to return a few seconds later with a headband placed on her head and sweatbands on all four of her legs. "Now I'm ready." Fluttershy smiled. Dash nodded, and the two walked over to Dash's favourite practicing spot. Fluttershy didn't want to tire her wings out yet, even though the spot was less than 5 minutes away. "You know, I'm really surprised that you want me to give you some tips on flying, Fluttershy." Rainbow decided to try and strike up conversation while they walked to the spot. "Well, I think I should put more confidence in myself. Plus, I want to break my wing power record. If 5 is good, but the speed demon in me wants to push for 5.5. Fluttershy said optimistically. "Confidence is really important when it comes to being a talented flyer. In fact, it can make or break how you do," Dash replied. "Speed is a big mental thing too. As long as you think you can go faster, you will." Fluttershy listened in intently and nodded after Dash's every word. For a moment, she wondered if she should have brought a notepad along with her. "Well, it looks like we're here. Ready for some flying?" Dash asked, extending her wings and giving them a good stretch. "You bet, Rainbow." Fluttershy smiled, doing a few stretches of her own. The two Pegasi continued to do some stretches. Nothing was worse than cramping up when flying. Dash had learnt that one the hard way. Once they had worked their joints enough, Dash started to give her lesson. "All right, Fluttershy, pay close attention, because you're getting tips from a master," Dash boasted, though it was well justified. "First things first, always make sure to stretch out before some serious flying. But you, of course, know that. The next biggest thing would be..." Dash paused for a minute to think. Making sure you have your flyer's license," Fluttershy suggested. Dash's thinking stopped immediately. Flyer's license?" "Yes, the license that every Pegasus pony needs. You didn't forget yours, did you, Rainbow Dash?" Fluttershy asked. "Of course not," Dash quickly replied. She always carried her flyer's license, but for some reason, Dash felt like there was something she needed to do with it. "Could you, show me, if that's okay?" Fluttershy wanted to make sure that Dash wasn't lying to her. Unfortunately, Rainbow Dash wasn't as honest as some ponies, especially Applejack hoped her to be. Dash sighed and retrieved her license. She had it, just like she said she had. But there was one rather important flaw. "Told you I had it! How could I forget my flyer's license? This is expired." Dash's eyes shot wide in panic. What do you mean expired?" "It says you are supposed to renew this last month." Fluttershy pointed her hoof to the license expiration date. Dash had been flying without a license for the past 2 months. "This has got to be some sort of mistake. I could have sworn I just got this thing renewed." Dash scratched her head. Did she even make an attempt to get her license renewed? "You could still make a run to the DWE and get it renewed today. You're fast enough to make it over there before most ponies too," Fluttershy suggested. "Can't I just get it renewed tomorrow?" Dash wanted to avoid the DWE at all costs. Rainbow, just do it now and get it out of the way. The faster you get over there, the faster you can get it done and forget all about the license. Fluttershy tried her best to cheer up her friend. She felt the same animosity towards the DWE as Dash did. Every Pegasi would probably be in agreement. I guess you're right, Dash sighed, very much annoyed that she would have to make an unwanted trip. I guess I better get going. Hope everything works out there. Fluttershy prayed as she watched Dash gloomfully lift off the ground and into the sky. Yeah, me too, Dash huffed. She knew it was going to be a disaster. It always was. The Department of Winged Equines was the last place a Pegasi would want to find themselves. If you compiled a list of everything unpleasant about it onto a scroll, it would reach all the way to the moon and back, probably more than once. Rumours have spread around Cloudsdale that the DWE had driven a pony to the brink of insanity just because it was so awful. Rainbow Dash may be able to avoid lightning during a storm, or spinning out of control and plummeting to the ground. But even she knew she wouldn't be able to avoid what the DWE had in store for her. As Dash approached the dreadful building, she could already see a line of disgruntled and annoyed Pegasi, quite an omen for her. Rainbow took her place behind a mumbling Pegasi, with a yellow mane and a light pink coat. Dash couldn't make out what she was saying, but she heard a few nasty words directed towards the DWE. Instead of standing there awkwardly, Dash decided to make some conversation. So, how long have you been here? Dash asked out loud, hoping the pony next to her would hear her. The Pegasi looked over at Dash with an unpleasant look on her face. Too long. Rainbow Dash rubbed her neck awkwardly. Guess some nice conversation wasn't going to happen today. As time passed, Rainbow just stood quietly in the line, tapping her hoof on the ground as she continued to lose patience. When is this place even open? Dash said to the same Pegasus in front of her. It's been open since 7 in the morning. This is just the line to get your number. You're kidding me, right? Rainbow Dash huffed. Hatred was beginning to spread through Dash's veins like a disease. After a long hour of waiting, Rainbow had finally made it inside the DWE, though the line hadn't let up one bit. Dash, along with the other ponies that were waiting in line, thought it would be easier to just leave and come back another day, though she knew she'd only encounter the same problem. Eventually, Dash reached the counter and was met by the emotionless eyes of the pony behind it. Welcome to the Department of Winged Equines. How may I help you today? The pony asked in a monotone voice. Yeah, hi, Dash replied in a fed-up tone. I'm here to renew my flyer's license. Okay. The pony retrieved a clipboard and held a piece of paper on it. Just fill this out and bring it back here. Dash took the clipboard and started to fill it out right there. Ma'am, you can't fill it out here, the pony behind the counter said. Why not? Dash asked with a puzzled look. You'll hold up the line. The line? You take a step every 5 minutes. I can fill this form out in 10 seconds flat, Dash explained. I'm sorry, ma'am, but you have to take a seat and fill out the form. Fine, whatever, Dash groaned. She stepped over to the main sitting area, which was full of irritated customers. There weren't many open spots, so Dash had to settle with sitting next to some elderly Pegasus who seemed to never stop coughing. Rainbow tried her best to block him out as she filled her own form out. All it required was basic information, like sex, birthday, current address, etc. Excuse me, young miss. The elderly pony next to Dash nudged her and sighed. Yeah? Dash looked over at him. My sight ain't what it used to be, kid. What's this form thingy saying? The pony waved his clipboard in the air. Rainbow took a hold of it and read it over. All you gotta do is fill out your name, your birthday, and where you live, Dash explained, handing the clipboard back to the pony. That's a lot more complicated than it was back in my day. It sure is. Dash faked a laugh, then went back to filling out her form. She was just about to sign it when the elderly pony next to her nudged her again. "Excuse me, young miss. What's this form thingy saying?" he asked again. Dash raised an eyebrow. "Didn't you just ask me that?" "My say, ain't what it used to be, kid." Rainbow Dash just stared at her neighbour with an extremely confused look. "Right, well, I gotta give this form in," Dash told him as she rose out of her chair and returned to the clerk at the desk, shuffling between the crowded aisles to get there. "There, my form's all filled out," Rainbow said while she slid the clipboard towards the clerk. "Ma'am, you have to be in line to turn in your form," the monotone clerk explained. "I was already in line for 1,000,000,000 years! Just take my form now! What's the big deal?" Rainbow asked. "Ma'am, would you please get in line?" "Would you please take my form?" Dash spat back. The clerk stared back at her, blinking once or twice. Dash rolled her eyes and sighed. "All right. Where's this stupid line start anyway?" The clerk raised his hoof and pointed to the back corner of the room. Another outrageously long line snaked its way from the corner to Dash's current position, and Rainbow's jaw just dropped. "Not again!" She gritted her teeth in anger. Once again, Rainbow Dash was stuck standing in an incredibly unnecessary line. Dash cursed herself for not bringing something to help time go by faster. The latest entry in the Daring Do series would have made this whole trip worth it. For a second, Dash imagined how her favourite hero would have handled the DWE. She wondered if even Daring could handle it without going insane. When Dash finally reached the end of the line, a different clerk was awaiting her. This time, it was a rather hideous mare, who most likely didn't even want to be working there right now. "What do you need?" the mare asked nasally. "I finished this form," Dash replied, shocked at the employee's behaviour. "And what do you want me to do about it?" The mare folded her arms. "Well, you could start by being nice, and then take my form," Rainbow replied, not wanting to put up with the clerk's attitude. The clerk huffed and snatched Dash's form away. After looking it over for a moment, she handed Dash a card with the number 237 on it. "What's this?" Rainbow asked as she took the card. "It's your number. When you hear your number, go to the main desk in the front and they'll assist you," the clerk explained as if it were a chore. "Oh, all right. Thanks," Dash replied, walking away. Personally, Dash didn't think the clerk deserved a thank you, but she wanted to show that manners won't kill you. Dash walked back to the seating area, making sure not to sit next to their elderly pony again. Instead, she sat at the back by the pamphlets and the literature. A little reading could make the time go by much quicker, seeing that the DWE was only serving number 48, whoever that lucky pony was. The first pamphlet she picked up was about the dangers of drinking and flying. Inside, they had a rather hilarious picture of a Pegasus in an obvious fake cast. A small speech bubble appeared next to him, which said, "I should have had a designated flyer." Instructors at flight camp used to give out pamphlets like this all the time, and they were always awfully done. After reading it, Dash tossed it aside and picked up another one. This pamphlet actually interested her a bit, since it was about the Wonderbolts. It gave some history on them and a few facts about its members, though she already knew everything there was to know about them. On the back, there was an outdated schedule of the Wonderbolts' performances. What she wouldn't do to ditch the DWE and go see the Wonderbolts right now. Just before she was about to reach for another pamphlet, two young Pegasi sat down next to her. "Man, I just want to take my weather patrol test. I've been studying all week and I want to get it over with," one of the Pegasi said. "I just want to pay the fine. I swear that I didn't see a speed limit sign," the other said. Dash went back to reading the pamphlets, but the constant yammering of the Pegasi next to her made it difficult to concentrate. They must have talked about every topic that's possible. Their crushes, how awful the other one was at flying, and a whole collection of crude and inappropriate subjects. Rainbow kept on trying to read, but found it near impossible when one of them brought up the newest daring do book that she had yet to read. The two Pegasi talked about the plot in great detail, which meant Dash wasn't exactly the happiest pony. The best part was definitely the ending, though. The way Daring went back to the village with that stone and all those fillies was like the coolest thing ever, spoiled one of them. Which, of course, was the last straw for Rainbow. For the love of Celestia, shut up! I mean, seriously, do you two ever stop talking? Both Pegasi looked at her with a curious eye. I've been trying to read about why I should keep my wings in great condition, but you've been yapping and yapping for the past forever! Dash continued. We didn't mean to. And then you went and spoiled the newest daring do for me! Dash threw her pamphlets down on the ground in frustration. What did I do to deserve this? Dash pleaded. The two Pegasi looked at each other and then made what was the best decision of their entire lives. Quickly they left Dash and went to sit somewhere else. Rainbow let out a sigh of relief and then regained her composure. When Dash looked up to see what number was being served, she almost lost it again. It was number 49. Are you kidding me? She whined. For the next hour and a half, Rainbow sat with her arms folded, trying her hardest not to lose her mind. Of course, it seemed that every Pegasus in Equestria would go to the DWE today, the same day that Rainbow Dash was going. It wasn't just the waiting that made Rainbow so angry, but all the noise and annoying sounds around her. Everywhere she looked, there'd be another Pegasus flapping their gums, sneezing or coughing, and just being a complete and total bother. Right in front of Dash was an overly obese Pegasus with a tiny foal that just didn't ever stop crying. You hush up now, she shouted at the foal, which only made it cry harder. Dash rubbed her temples, praying that her number would be called soon. Another hour later, number 237 was finally called, and not a moment too soon. Dash's sanity was about to slip away entirely. Welcome to the DWE. What do you need? The Pegasus behind the front desk asked. This one was a combination of the last two. Monotone and with a bad attitude. All I want to do is renew my flyer's license, Dash replied, hoping she wouldn't have to hop through yet another hoop. Did you fill out the information? Yes! I filled out every one of your stupid forms! Can I please just review my license now? Rainbow Dash begged. The clerk rolled her eyes and let out a small groan. Dash could have kicked her in the face right then and there. She waited, again, while the clerk searched through the stacks of folds on the counter. Before Dash was about to ask her to hurry up, the clerk pulled out her forms and looked over them. Are you here to renew your Ponyville Weather Patrol license? The clerk inquired. No, just my regular flyer's license, Dash replied. If there was something wrong, she wouldn't be held responsible for what she might do. You mean the flyer's license that every Pegasi needs to fly? Yes, the only other license you would ever need, Dash retorted, getting rather concerned about another stupid issue. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't do that. Dash's eyes shot wide, and she almost erupted into a fit of rage. I can't do that! What? You're going to tell me that after I sat here for a bajillion years, waiting to renew my license, that I can't do it? You better have a good reason. You can't renew your flyer's license because you don't have to, the clerk replied, her voice louder than Dash's. Heads were beginning to turn their way. What? Dash's voice diminishing greatly in volume. Didn't you know? Cancelot passed a law earlier this year where you no longer have to renew your flyer's license, only a weather patrol license, the clerk informed. What? Dash squeaked. Guess it was pretty stupid in the first place, making a Pegasi carry a license to what they were born to do. Dash didn't say a word, only looking at the ground. I reorganised all those books you wanted me to, Twilight. Need anything else done? Spike chirped happily. Twilight looked over the library, extremely satisfied with her assistant's work. Great job, Spike. You can take the rest of the day off if you want. Twilight smiled, immediately pulling a book from her collection. Thanks, Twilight. A day off, huh? Maybe I'll go pay Rarity a visit. A daydream of Rarity confessing her love to Spike played through the dragon's imaginative head. Good luck, Romeo, Twilight chuckled, rolling her eyes playfully. Spike was just about to open the door when it flung open, slamming him against the wall. Twilight! The voice of Rainbow Dash called. Hello, Rainbow. What brings you here? Twilight asked, setting the newest Daring Do novel down. Spike! Letter! Now! Dash demanded. Oh, I'm sorry, Rainbow, but you might have just missed him. Twilight's front door closed, and Spike fell off the wall, groaning as he rubbed his bruised head. Okay, love might hurt, but I don't think I deserve that, Spike murmured. Oh, there he is. You've made it just in time, then, Twilight smiled. Spike, I need you to write me a letter to Princess Celestia. Dash bulleted towards the baby dragon. Spike continued to groan in discomfort, but pulled out a quill and scroll. Did you learn a lesson about friendship for the princess? Twilight was eager to know what Dash had learned. Oh yeah, I learned a great lesson, and I've definitely got something to say to that princess, Rainbow Dash said sarcastically. Once Dash had written her letter, she left in quite a hurry, not even staying to chat with her friend a bit. A little after she had left, Spike received a message from Princess Celestia. My loyal subject, Rainbow Dash. Wow. Princess Celestia.